Hey guys, it's Greg from East Coast Eyes, and today I've got a review of the STX Hammer U for you. It's one of the newer heads from STX and features some of their newest technology and is a head that I'm really excited about. So we'll get into it a little bit. This head was designed pretty much specifically for defensemen, and it's one of the first ones to be designed specifically for defensemen. Some of the heads I recommend for defense, like the Proton U, the X10, the Surgeon 10, the Warrior Revolution, and plenty of others. You know, they're good defense heads, but they're not specifically designed for defense. Maybe the X10 was geared toward defense, but this one was the first one where the engineers and the manufacturer actually went and decided they want to make a head uh, just specifically for defensemen and to really cater to that position. And I think they did a really good job with it. So the price is $99. It's an X-spec head, meaning it's legal for all levels of play, high school, youth, college. So it's 6.5 inches at the top and 3 through the throat, but I think it might even be more than that because it's a pretty wide head. So the first thing I want to mention is how rock solid this head is. You can tell that they really, specifically beefed up the entire head, not just through the sidewalls, but through the whole thing. You can see the throat is extremely beefy with these really thick, connectors here, and not a lot left uncovered. You can see how thick it is in here as well. And these sidewalls in the front are probably some of the thickest I've ever seen. These bars in here are both thick this way and very wide and extremely rigid. The scoop also seems to be a little thicker, and it's, I can usually bend. I don't know if I have any heads around here that would bend pretty easily, but here's an Evo 2.0, and I can usually bend ahead a little bit, but this one literally does not budge. And Mike and I, just took some checks on the floor and each other, and the head was not moving at all, which is a great feature. So obviously, it's very strong, and I can't speak to the long-term durability, but I have a feeling it will outperform most heads. You see a lot of defensemen that throw a lot of poke checks. Well, over time, that's going to compress the head, and it's going to get very wide up top and a little bit shorter, and it's going to compromise the face shape and everything else. And it seems like this head is going to hold its shape very well. And part of that is due to the C-channel technology that STX has in its heads these days. The Stallion's one of them, and this is another. You can see right along here, it's inset in where the sidewall holes are. This adds to the rigidity of the head and helps it keep its shape, so that definitely helps. And they added a couple more supports from what they have in the Stallion in here, just to help it keep its shape even further. You do add a little weight with the head just because it is so thick, but I don't find that to be an issue, especially since it's a defense head. So now let's talk about the face shape. It's a generic face shape for defense. It looks and pretty much has the identical face shape of the X10. It's a wide head, for a midfielder or for a defenseman. You're not going to need too narrow of a pinch unless you're a guy that really likes to push on offense. Other than that, you want a good head for catching and one that's going to be mostly focused on checks. So now we'll talk about the stringing of the head. It strings up very well. It is a little more difficult to string because it's so wide. It's hard to get a really tight channel, and stringing a high pocket in it would be next to impossible. But for most defensemen, that's not an issue. You could string a very nice defense pocket in it with either 6 diamond or 15 millimeter. You could string a pocket right in the middle that has enough channel and perform just well enough for defensemen. Very large top string holes, very wide bottom string holes, and I like the spacing of these. I don't like mine to be all bunched up like the Evo 3. I like them to be more spread out like these are, so that's a feature that I really like in this head. It's got maybe a couple fewer sidewall holes than the Stallion, but certainly not by too many. It's got these huge holes at the top for the sidewall, which I don't find to be a huge issue. Generally, I hate extremely large holes, but these are rectangular, so it helps keep these strings from popping through, which I really like. So my overall synopsis of the head is it is the best defensive head option on the market, and I think you will see that echoed throughout the NCAA and also, all through all levels, that this is going to take over as one of the more popular defense heads, and it's certainly what I would be using as a defenseman, and I believe Mike is going to take up to using it as well. He strung a 6-diamond head with it. So I will string this head and let you guys know how I do with it. Mostly I would only recommend it for maybe a defensive midi who's very defensive oriented, but mostly for deep holes. You do see some attackmen and midfielders that are offensive oriented using the X10 and the Proton U sometimes, so I think it could be adapted, but mostly that's who I would recommend it for. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Lacrosse Network for amazing highlights. The NLL coming up this season, which I'm sure we're all really excited about. And also subscribe to my channel, East Coast Dives, for more string videos and tutorials. Have a good one, guys.